Welcome to West Country Wanderings and welcome to one of my Cotswold Walk series. I'm actually doing a circular walk today. We're in the village of Great Rissington and I'm following this book. Yep, that one there. I'll put a link into it. It's called Cotswold River Walks and it's by a gentleman called Colin Handy. I picked this up locally. I haven't tried it yet, so I thought I'd try one out today here in the Cotswolds. It's got some more well-known places, but I've chosen this one because some places I've not come to before. So where are we? Well, I've stuck a map up roundabout now. I've just come up off the A40, which is the main Cheltenham-London road, heading towards Oxford. In fact, we're not that far from the Oxfordshire border. We're still in Gloucestershire, but on the eastern part of Gloucestershire. I haven't done this part of Gloucestershire before on my channel. In fact, the nearest we come to it was when I did a canal update at Lechlade upon Thames. But we're not going near the Thames today. We're looking for the River Windrush as it winds its way through the beautiful Cotswold countryside and these fabulous villages here. So this one is the biggest one we'll come through today, which is Great Rissington. I parked my car further down there towards the church, and if we have time we'll have a look at the church towards the end of the video when we complete the full circuit. I'll put some maps up where we are roughly and also more detailed ones of the OS, and I'll link to this book as well, and I'll also do a plan of the exact route that I'm doing today here in the Cotswolds. It's early February. It's quite mild for this time of year. We're about 11 to 12 degrees today, and the sun is coming out in spells, which is great. A little bit muddy on this track here, if you can see that there, a little bit of mud there, but and that is very, very pleasant. It's good to be out, and yeah, why not join me for this walk here in the Cotswolds. Now, like my recent videos I've done on the canal, where I've done quite a bit of research and given you the history, this is more of an ad-lib, very similar style to what I did the Cotswold Way, or a lot of the Cotswold Way series. I'm just using my Joby stick, so there'll be less tripod use today, and I haven't done a great deal of research about what the villages contain, so we'll be discovering them together. And as this walk, I say, I'm not familiar with this part of the Cotswolds, never been here before, so I'll be looking what this is like together, and if it interests you, then you may want to do the walk as well if you're in the area or visiting the Cotswolds on holiday. Yeah, it's very pleasant here, as I say. And yeah, I do enjoy doing the research type videos for my channel where I'm looking at the history of the canals and doing it in detail, but it's also nice just to come out unplanned, really, apart from this book. So my good book and my OS map app on my phone is my only guide with me today. So I've got a thermos of tea, some sandwiches in my rucksack, and yeah, just to see where this path takes us on this journey here in the Cotswolds. So it's wonderful just to do that. No ties, and just come out and walk in the countryside in fresh air just to see what we see here together today. I've transferred the plan of the route from the book onto my OS map app. It's really useful because you can plan routes as well as pinpointing exactly where you are on the OS map. You can then also plan plot routes, and it gives you height elevations, how much you're going to climb, descend, and approximate time. Not sure how it calculates approximate time, but it's given me just over 3 hours to complete this walk today. Of course, that doesn't allow for any stops or filming, so it'll probably take me about more like 5 hours for allowing for the filming. But yes, which is fine because it's 10 o'clock in the morning here, so I've started reasonably early to get here. So I left home just before 9, and that'll give me a chance to get some footage in, also take in the scenery, and hopefully to be able to have a look at the villages en route as well. So how are you all keeping? I hope you're all well. Please let me know in the comments if you've been out enjoying walks over the winter period. I think we've been quite fortunate, certainly here in the West Country, to have had quite a mild and relatively dry winter time, which has certainly enabled me to get out and about and still creating content for my channel, which has been great because I was concerned I'd be limited by the weather, but thankfully that's not been the case. There was a bit of mud here, some large puddles there. just to watch my tread here a little bit. But yeah, please let me know if you've been out for walks in your local area, enjoying walks and getting some fresh air and exercise. And as I say, as we all know, that's good for both our mental and physical health in these difficult pandemic times. But obviously we don't have the lockdowns anymore, so we're not restricted in terms of how far away we can walk away from our local residence, which is good. But yeah, I've not been to this part of the Cotswold Way. In fact, sorry, the Cotswold Way, the Cotswolds still got the Cotswold Way on the brain. In actual fact, I watched a lady called Abbie Barnes. I've been following Abbie for some time. She's got a great channel. Spend More Time in the Wild, Abbie Barnes. I think she did it a couple of years ago, but she only uploaded the video last night. It's well worth a watch. It's about an hour and 3/4 video, so she hasn't done it in parts. She's just done the whole walk that she did in one video, but it's really, really good. I really enjoyed that, so I doubt she watches my channel because she's got lots of other things and projects that she's doing, but well done, Abbie. I thought it was fantastic. Really, really good. So if you want another flavour of somebody else's take, it's always good to get somebody else's take on different walks that you've done. Have a look at that, and I'll put a link in for that below. This copse to my right is the delightfully named Honeybush. And there's also a feature on the OS map and actually in the book called a sheep dip, but I can't see any facility there for dipping sheep. Obviously we do have sheep, they need to be dipped to protect them from various different diseases and contaminants which will get into their coat, a winter coat. I'm not sure when they do that. I'm sure somebody will put that in the comments as to when they dip sheep to protect them. But yeah, we're continuing along here on this footpath. It's good to have the sun out. Obviously we get those gloomy days. And you probably heard something called SAD, which stands for Seasonal Affective Disorder. And that can have a detrimental effect on our mental health in terms of lack of sunlight in the winter months when we have the darker days. I used to have a light box. It was quite a large oblong shaped box which gave out pure white light, because obviously when we're indoors a lot of the light that we have is of a tungsten variety. I know sometimes that the LED lights that we have these days are better for us, but yeah, you get that horrible yellowy, reddy colour light, which you know about if you do photography as well, because if you're shooting indoors at all, you have to change your white balance settings to avoid that yellowy, reddish tinge that you get. So, and that's not great for our brains, apparently. So it's great that the sun comes out to expose our brains to the light. It has an effect. I don't really know what effect it has, but it changes the serotonin levels in our brain, the fact that we're having light levels. So it's always good to see a bit of sun. Of course, I do have to be very careful with sunlight, as I've mentioned before, in terms of skin cancer, hence the hat today, because the sun is out. But not that withstanding, it's not. I don't think the UV levels are that high today. It's only sunny spells. But yeah, it's good to see some sunlight here on the Cotswold. I've just checked the OS map and noticed that we're going down some contours now, so we might see a glimpse of the Windrush shortly. And apologies, I've made a bit of an error. We're actually coming close to the village of Great Barrington, and the village that we started from wasn't Great Barrington. I'm sorry if I misnamed it. That in fact is the village of Great Rissington. Getting my greats muddled up here. In fact, I should know Great Rissington, because close to Great Rissington's another village called Little Rissington. And if you're into aviation at all, I'm not particularly, but I have a passing interest, obviously being ex-RAF. is that there was an airfield called RAF Little Rissington, and for a time the Red Arrows were based there. And when I started recording this video, I had a little bit of difficulty in the village of Great Rissington. Yeah, I have got that right now, Great Rissington. Well, several reasons, and it just reminded me of my next project as well, because I started recording. As soon as I hit record, there was a car, and it obviously had some kind of faults with it, because it was making this very high pitched screaming noise as it came down the hill. So I stopped and I waited for that, and I restarted. Welcome to West Country Wanderings. Hit the button again. Then there was a lorry that came through clanking a load of metal poles, so I stopped, restarted it again. And then there was another noisy vehicle, and I'm thinking, oh, this is just too bad. I'm not going to have to get into the countryside before I can start recording. And that's why I say urban areas. It's not an urban area, it's just a village. But it just reminded me of the fact that villages have become a lot more noisier than what they used to be. They're not the rustic rural havens of old. And I'm actually rereading Laurie Lee's book Cider with Rosie, and we're going to be visiting Slad, where he grew up, on my channel very soon, so look out for that. And it just reminded me, reading that book, how things have changed in rural life, and everything now is so much noisy, and it's only until you come out in the proper countryside you can actually get some peace and escape from all that. I've just come across here, stopped walking, because to point this wall out, and I think this is part of the Barrington Estate, Barrington Park, which heads over in that direction. So I think in the bottom part there is where the River Windrush is, and over those trees is where Barrington House is. But I'm not sure of the purpose for this wall, because it's not a perimeter wall. It looks like you might have used it as a rifle range at some point, but I guess it's probably something to do with the estate. We'll have a look round, see what's on the other side of this wall. Now it becomes clear. Yes, it looks like this is like a common lean-to. It would have been either a stable block building, or perhaps like a greenhouse, glass greenhouse for growing product. I'm not too sure, one of the two. But obviously they've subsequently used it for animals, for there's like animal feed trays here. But that hasn't been used for its original purpose for quite some time. Anyway, we'll continue with the wall. Now, I said just now we had a bit of an ascent, and I'll just do a clip of where we just come down. But behind me there we have quite a bit of an ascent going back up again, which is really strange, because I thought it was going to be a bit flatter, but I won't try and talk walking up there, so I'll see you on the other side, because I'll sound completely out of breath. See you in a bit. I had originally planned to do this walk yesterday, but I've been struggling with an injury, as well as my mental health. My back has been playing up. It's a bit of a chicken and egg. I don't know which comes first, but there's definitely a link between depression and backache. And of course, if your back's really in pain, you can't really go out and do any or much form of exercise. And because you're not doing much form of exercise getting out, the depression gets worse. Because the depression gets worse, it makes physical symptoms increase, like pain, which means more pain, which means you get the picture. So it kind of goes on like that. So yesterday I planned to come out, as I say, but I didn't, for that kind of pain depression cycle that I was in. But today I was determined to break that cycle, so I got up earlier and thought it's going to be a nice day. So get a chances when the days are nice. I thought, I need to get back out on the Cotswolds again. I've been missing it, although I enjoy canals and railways and the other things that I do on my channel. I do love a good walk, as you probably know. I do miss doing the Cotswold Way, but of course I'll be doing the Severn Way soon. And that's again another reason to do this, because I need to improve my fitness levels before I can tackle that 220-mile challenge here on West Country Wanderings. Yeah, definitely stay up on this bank for a little bit, because the track's a little bit waterlogged. I'll probably dry up over the next few days. It is supposed to be dry. In fact, Friday, it's Tuesday today. Friday, it's supposed to be very nice weather, sunny all day. I have got something planned for that, which subscribe and hit the bell, you'll find out. But it's actually not that far from here, so I think you'll find that interesting. Anyway, we're cracking on towards the village of Great Barrington. just behind these railings is Barrington Park, and you can just make out the top of well, I'm not sure if it's the actual house itself. It's like a rotunda, that's the word I'm looking for, rotunda building, which is just in there, but you can only just see the top of it. It's not a great deal to see, but we're gonna, unfortunately the path now follows the road for a bit until we get to the village of Great Barrington, then it crosses some fields till we get to Barrington Mill. So we've now arrived at Great Barrington. I'm just going to have a cup of tea just to show you just some shots around here, but then we're going to head down that track there, marked Village Hall, because that takes us to Barrington Mill, and that should give us our first glimpse of the wonderful River Windrush. So yeah, that was rather wonderful in there. Just had a little break there, a cup of tea, it was great. Nice little convenient seat. Was it the warmer or where I needed to walk down here? One beautiful snowdrops just in that little copse there. I thought that was an unexpected delight. I've noticed driving here along the A40, there's lots of clumps of snowdrops in the verges on the main road, which is really good to see. In fact, there was a place called Cotswold, just a few miles over that way, which is famous for its snowdrops, and maybe there might be a little visit there later on, so on my channel, so perhaps look out for that one. I can't promise, but see how we go, because it's only open limited hours. But our track needs to go straight down here, so we're still on the High Cotswolds here. We're about 4 or 5 miles from that sign there, from Bourton on the Water. And on my channel, although I love Bourton on the Water, I think it's a lovely village. A number of reasons I haven't visited on my channel, and probably never will, is because it what's this sign state? Oh yes, it's just reminding walkers to clear up after their dogs. Yes, it's just been done so many times on YouTube, and it also gets extremely busy, just like Broadway and some other places like Castle Combe. There's hundreds of videos about those places, but I don't think, there probably are 1 or 2, but I don't think there's very many videos which have covered the Barringtons and the Rissingtons here in the valley of the River Windrush. So now at Barrington Mill, and that's our first glimpse of the River Windrush, and actually divides into 2 sections here, because there's a weir as well, and obviously the part of that channel would have been dug for this Barrington Mill, which is behind me, and you can just see snowdrops all around me here and extended into the garden. It's absolutely beautiful. That bridge there, just a couple of clips of the water flowing underneath it, and the other section of the River Windrush is just ahead of me. It's quite interesting, the wind actually blows along the channel there, because obviously we're in a valley now. We've come down from the top of the Cotswolds down into this Windrush Valley, and the wind seems to barrel along the valley here. But yeah, here's the second channel, and this is a wider section here of our wonderful and quite beautiful River Windrush. And there it is, in its glory. Just do some more shots of that here for you. I'll now actually be following the River Windrush. It's now to my right. I've got both channels here to the right. It'll be by our side for hopefully for most of the way, or near enough, all the way back to the car, back at Great Rissington. Yeah, I nearly said it again. So yeah, we've just come through Great Barrington. That was Barrington Mill, and we're now making our way through, you won't be surprised to know, Little Barrington. So it cuts across these beautiful fields here, which obviously are a floodplain for the River Windrush, and it's living up to its name because the wind is certainly rushing through, or going through the rushes here. So wind going through the rushes. So yeah, very, very apt name for this river. You can see why it's been called that name, and you've got the open fields here, which obviously, as I say, the floodplain for the river here in the Cotswolds in Gloucestershire. So behind me, we've got a footpath sign denoting the start, or maybe the end, of the Dalton Way. No, me neither, I've never heard of it. See if I can find any more information about that, and I'll put it in the usual method below. Now, according to my guidebook and to my OS map, my route is supposed to go there behind me, along that track there, but it's extremely muddy this time of year. So what I'm going to do is I'm making my way up to what is actually called Main Road, but it's in the heart of the village here in Little Barrington. We'll go past the church. It's only a slight detour. It means obviously we're not quite as close to the river, but we should still be able to rejoin up with it shortly. One of the things you come across when walking in this time of the year. Main Road. This is the main road through Little Barrington. We're just making our way to the heart of the village. In fact, there's a delightful church to our right coming up, so we'll just have a quick look at that. There's a curious stone here, and there's another one just along there. I don't know what they were ever used for. If anybody has any ideas on that, please drop it in the comments the usual way below. So this is the delightful and quaint church of St. Peter's here in Little Barrington. I think they all comes under the benefice of the Windrush, because obviously there's a church at Great Rissington and Little Rissington, and also there's a village called Windrush itself. I may not have a chance to visit that on the walk, but what I will do is when I head back in the car, I will stop at that village and include some photographs of that village towards the end of the video. Before I continue walk, I can't not show you this wonderful sight that befolds me here in the graveyard at St. Peter's here at Little Barrington. Extraordinary sight of all these snowdrops here. So now I'm in the delightful village of Little Barrington. Absolutely delighted. I've never been here before, never heard of it before I picked up my book on the walks along the rivers in the Cotswolds, and yeah, I'm blown away by this place. It's a bit of an undiscovered gem. No tourists here. It's not a Broadway or Bourton on the Wall. So yeah, we've got a river, we've got a church, we've got even a telephone box there, which is an iconic thing to see, and there's even a pub just down the road. So now why not join me on continuing this walk here, following the wonderful River Windrush. I've even discovered this seat in front of me, which is terrific, so I think I'm going to stop here at this beautiful location and have my lunch before continuing the journey back on the circular tour following the River Windrush. But yeah, snowdrops here on the banks as well, and it's just a wonderful spot. Really blown away with this village here in the Cotswolds. So I'm going to head on now to Windrush Mill, where we'll rejoin the River Windrush and saying goodbye to Little Barrington. It was a great place to stop for my lunch. So I'm all rested and relaxed and watered and ready to continue the walk here in the Cotswolds. Copse to my right, your left, is actually called Waterloo Copse. Don't know, maybe it was planted to commemorate the Battle of Waterloo, I'm not sure, but yeah, so Waterloo Copse. There's a couple of snowdrops in there, but it's quite thick, so I can't film that because it's a bit too dark. So now on the edge of the village of Windrush, we're actually not, the footpath doesn't go into the village itself, and as I say, I'll include some shots of the village towards the end of the video here today. So that's the Windrush back down there. It's good to see that they're planting some new trees here. It's always a positive, I've mentioned many times before on my channel, but it's good to see that. I don't think that they're on it, but it's obviously it's a wetland. So it's great natural habitat here in the Cotswolds. So we're now walking across these fields. We're away from that road. Not that it was a busy road, but it's good to be away from tarmac and onto softer ground and right into the heart of the countryside, if you like. And we're heading right over here in that direction, and then we'll start making our way northwards again, back up to the village of Great Rissington. So that's, there's my arm, the Great Barrington House, or Barrington House, or Barrington Park House. I'm not sure the exact nomenclature for it, but yeah, that's it. Sits there in the park here, just on the banks of the Windrush. Fabulous looking place. I don't have my telephoto lens on at the moment. It's quite windy. So I don't fancy changing my lens out here in the field. I do use interchangeable lenses for my Canon camera, it's a mirrorless camera. I've got different lenses for it, and obviously telephoto you can zoom in. The danger of changing lenses when it's very windy, I will do it if it's like calm or there's some shelter I can do it, but we're exposed here, as you get tiny little particles like bits of pollen, seed, anything really, bits of dust, and if that gets on your sensor on the back of the camera, it causes like little blobs on the image, and you can, when you zoom in, you can see those. You can clean it, but it's very difficult. There is various ways of doing it. You can do it digitally, which is what I tend to do, but it's still a bit of a pain, so I'd rather avoid not changing my lens over just to get that one shot here because of the wind and how exposed we are here on the site of the Cotswolds. But anyway, it gives you a flavour of what the parkland looks like. As I say, it's not open to the general public, but it's an amazing place. Imagine living in that house. It would be extraordinary, wouldn't it? It's having all that place to yourself. I couldn't quite imagine it, but I don't think I'd fancy it. I doubt if it's that cosy. And of course the bills would be very, very expensive. To just think of the heating bills, well, obviously they've gone up for everyone an enormous amount, and people are struggling with that. It's the heating bills for there must be absolutely off the scale, so comfort yourself with that thought. But yeah, here we go. So I'm surrounded by sheep now. So I've got Windrush, the village of Windrush, as I said. We'll do some shots of that. That's just over there. That's the village of Windrush. Got some large barns and farm buildings here, but our footpath continues along here before we make our way northwards back to Great Rissington. Through the field here, the footpath isn't very well marked. I've just checked my app. I've just come over a dry stone wall, and I can see the footpath is marked in the opposite direction, but not in this direction, so I think I'm on the right track. It's obviously not a walk that's done very frequently, because it's not very clear at all through this field of sheep here. There you can't see any track. It's just grass, and there's no mark at all as to where the footpath should be. But yeah, I'm causing a bit of a stampede of the sheep at the moment. They're all behind me running around. I can see them, there they are, just running down the hill there. Yeah, so we're coming along here now. I think that's the way. What's that in the field there? It's not a horse, I think that's a... I can't make it out. It's weird, I can't make it out whether it's a donkey or whether it's a bit of a... No, it is a donkey. Yes, it is a donkey. We'll get close to that. I'll give a shot of that in a bit. So yeah, there's our parkland back there behind me, Barrington Park, and I'm making our way down. So we've got a bit of a contour now, so we're going to go down the contour and then follow the line, and then we'll be going, there'll be a footbridge over the Windrush. Well, I hope there is, otherwise I'll have to get my waders out. I haven't brought any with me. So that'll be interesting to get across the Windrush, and then when we walk back to complete our circuit, the Windrush will be on my left, while you're right as you're looking at the screen, all the way back to where we started our journey, the walk here today. A bit of care needed over this walkway here, or these boards, which are great because there's a bit of a very boggy field underneath me, which is good that it's here, but sadly some of the slats have broken maybe over the winter, so you just kind of have to jump or stride out in a couple of places here. Hello. Friendly. Hello then. Like to be on camera. Good to see that donkey there and the horse. I don't think they get to see that many people here come across that public field, so this public footpath on the field, shall I say. I don't think it's that popular a circular walk, but I'm certainly enjoying it here. But yeah, just beyond this gate here, just show that, it says to Sherborne. So that's part of the National Trust Sherborne Estate, which is probably somewhere we'll visit here on the channel. The Spring Watch team, the watches, Chris Packer and Michaela Strachan and co, they camped up there, I think, for about 3 seasons. Beautiful spot, certainly something we'll cover here. But we're not going that way today, so we've got to go down here. So we're actually at a place called Windrush Mill, which is where we should be able to cross over the river. So yes, there it is. It's just down here. So yeah, that's Windrush Mill behind me. We're on this new footbridge, or newish footbridge, which is great because I didn't want to get my feet wet, because it looks quite deep, the Windrush, and it's wider here because where we saw it at the other mill, at Barrington Mill, of course, it was divided up into at least 2, possibly 3 channels, but here it's all combined into one channel, so it is quite wide. It gives you an idea of the extent of the River Windrush here in the Cotswold. Now that we've crossed over the River Windrush, the Windrush is now on my left, your right of the screen, and that should continue. There's no more bridges till we get back to the village of Great Rissington where we started our walk. So we're probably about 2/3, 3/4 of the way around the walk now. here following the Windrush in the Cotswolds. Now behind me here is what would have been a sluice gate. So we've got another channel just standing on another little bridge here. So the main Windrush is behind me, but this would have been used to control the amount of flow of water to the mill. It's no longer a working mill, so obviously the sluice is no longer required. Just seen 3 peregrines floating over in the sky, and again, apologies I can't put my telephoto on because it's just far too windy to do that exposed here. Yeah, so that's the Windrush behind me, and we've got some trees here, which is wonderful, guys. I'm just actually hearing the wind flow through those trees. Remember the other day we went to that Gloucestershire woodland with my woodland in inverted commas. We were talking about the sound of the trees in the bough, that character from Thomas Hardy, and yeah, so I don't know what trees these are. I'm listening to the sound of the wind going through the trees, but no, I don't know. Looking at them roughly, certainly some oaks in there and a couple of beech, but more than that I can't really say, because it's, as I say, it's very, very difficult this time of year to identify trees without any leaf on them. Now I think the path splits here, so I'm going to have to look at my map app again, because I think both of them head into the woodland, so yeah, it'll be interesting. Got a bit of a woodland section. I didn't know that, hadn't spotted that when I did the plan originally, so that's great. A bit of a woodland to go into now. So now a location called Manor Farm. It's currently being refurbished by the looks of it, but we're quite high up again. So the river's probably some 50 or 60 metres below us at this location, and it drops back down there. So yeah, there's the farm there, just down in there, and lovely farm building, which looks like it's been restored. So anyway, we're continuing this way, dead ahead of us. We've got some more snowdrops up on this wall, which is to be able to see in a minute. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this walk. We're well over 3/4 of the way complete now. I am starting to feel a little bit tired, because this is the longest walk I've done probably post Christmas. Being there, so I think it's about 7.2, 7.3 miles, which is obviously nothing compared to what I'll be doing on the Severn Way, but it's getting those fitness levels, I say, with the back injury as well, to get them back up to speed again. Yeah, so those snowdrops are just down there. I can see those. There they are in there. But they've also got some daffodils going to be coming up soon as well, which is going to be good to see. So yeah, our path heads down this way, then again goes back down again into the valley of the Windrush, and goes through another wood before making its final ascent up to Great Rissington. The landscape ahead of me has changed quite noticeably. It's a lot more trees here. Yeah, so it's it'll be interesting. It was quite high up with lots of arable and things like cabbages and lettuces had been recently planted on some of the fields, but here it's back to wood and nature, which is great to see. So I can see woods all the way along the valley of the Windrush here, making our way back to Great Rissington, and it's good to see that, rather than just swathes of barren fields that are huge with very little hedging. So this is great for the wildlife in this area. So I saw quite a few peregrines earlier on, and I apologise again for not getting closer shots of things like that with the old lens that I have on here. It's a great lens, it's good for image stability, but not so great if you want to zoom in on something, but can have everything, I guess. So yes, they've got this bit off here, and I think that's possibly fenced off because they've got maybe the dreaded grouse shooting, yeah. But the woods ahead of me looks like it's more naturalised, and also we've got this wonderful bit here which is completely given over to nature, and I'll just give you a close-up of that. You probably see that "please keep to the footpath" sign behind me there. Just to let you know, you can go on two different routes back to Great Rissington at this point. You can go the field back up that way, which takes you back to where, if you remember near the start of the video, I pointed out something called Sheep Dip near that wonderfully delighted honeybush wood. But yeah, so that you can go that way. It's a bit shorter going that way, but it goes up more steeply. But we're going to go down this way and then make our way back up to the village. As you can see from the finger posts behind me, no, wrong hand, that way, yeah, that one there, that's the one. Those finger posts there, they're pointing in all directions, so I just had to check my OS map app again. It's always a mouthful to say that. And you can go up that way. We've come back from this way. You can go down there and round the corner of the field, where actually we're going right down there into that wood. And then we follow the wood for a bit, which then comes, we'll see the river again. And we then start a climb, well, quite a bit of a climb back up to Great Barrington. I can't remember the height of Great Barrington, but I'll put, sorry, I've done it again, Great Barrington. The height of Great Rissington, I keep getting those two confused in my head. Great Rissington, that's where we started the walk, not Great Barrington, we did that. And I'll put in the height above sea level in metres that Great Rissington is. But yeah, so we're going through this wood. Now it's quite muddy, this bit here, so I'm having to watch my tread, so excuse me not looking at the camera at the moment. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this walk. It's been, oh look, some fungi on that. Let's just have a look at this a minute. Just take you over here. This looks really interesting. Yeah, we've got some bracket fungi there and some different types here. I'm not a fungus or mushroom expert. I'll do the name that tree, which will be coming back as we get into the springtime. We can see trees again. We'll certainly be doing that, but I don't really know that much about fungi. So yeah, we're coming into this interesting wood. It's really hard to describe. It's obviously very damp. There's lots of moss here, a heck of a lot of moss, greenery, very thick. Obviously, because we're in the floodplain of the Windrush here. And again, I haven't watched my tread. It looks like they probably had a bit of quarrying going on here many years ago, I would say. That certainly predates the 19th century, I would say. Judging by that, that's just for local stone quarry, perhaps a couple of the farms that are around here. And yeah, here, these stone blocks. Now that's interesting. Here you've got some stone blocks there and something else down here. Not sure why it's been cut like this. Right, I can't explain that. Anybody? I don't know what that is. It's just like a channel that's been cut out with stone. Some of the stone blocks, they're very uniform, very, well, rectangular in shape, the stone blocks, and they've been left there by the side. They obviously didn't want those, and they've taken them out of that section of the rock there and just left them to one side. There's some more here. I mean, maybe it was used to build a local church, or I don't know. So you have that there. But there, not only has it been cut out and left on the side, it actually looks like a stone wall to make a channel, but for what? I really wouldn't like to say. Maybe some kind of not ancient, but old drainage channel. So this is a really unusual place. It's got a lot of atmosphere here. Wasn't expecting this. Yeah, I just realised that's going to make a great shot in black and white. So I'm just going to turn off the video bit and just do a bit of black and white shots of that, because I think that will come out quite well. And if it does, I'll put that up round about now. Slightly took a wrong path coming back into the village. See a track there crossing the field. I should have come up there, but for some reason I didn't see it. There was a sudden turn and I ended up scrabbling along the edge of the field. But anyway, we made it back here. It's now 10 to 3. I left at 10 past 10, so I said about 5 hours. So it's 4 hours 40 minutes or so. And I say the app says 3 out of 10, but obviously I stopped for lunch. I stopped for a tea break in Little Rissington, and I also obviously stopped quite a few times to do some shots for the video here. So but yeah, I'm pleased I did that. That's a nice bit of hedging on both sides. Now we've got to accompany our final landing strip back into the village where we started our walk some 4 hours 40 minutes ago. But I've really enjoyed it. I hope you have too. As I say, let me know if you've been doing local walks wherever you may live across the world. I'd love to hear from you, what you've been up to with walking to keep you out in the fresh air in the winter time, or in the summertime if you live in the southern hemisphere, of course, because you'll have been having December in the heat. But until next time on West Country Wanderings, I will close with some shots of the village of Windrush. Hope you enjoyed it today. If you did, please consider a like, subscribe, a share or comment. I'd be really grateful for that. Look after yourselves, take care, and I hope to see you on West Country Wanderings again very, very soon. Cheers now. Goodbye.